Well, hello everybody. Today I'm going to do a purple beach with maybe a heart-shaped moon. So I had the idea in my head. Sometimes it doesn't always execute that way, but we're gonna try. I'm gonna angle my canvas because I'm right-handed and I need that tilt. So hopefully that doesn't bother you. I'm going to go ahead and start off with the horizon line, and I think I want the horizon line to be, we'll just go ahead and put it in the middle. And we'll just add a little bit of heavier purple. This may change, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I want to work on the sky first. So up above, I'm just going to add a little bit of white, a little bit more of that purple. And try to keep it a little pastel. The streaks are okay because maybe they're little clouds drifting through, so I'm okay with the streaks. We'll just get a little heavier with the purple as we go up. And I'm going to touch into a little bit of blue to try to get a bit of a darker purple. All right, I'm just going to try to flatten out some of my brush strokes. And if you are doing your gallery wrap, which I highly recommend, now is probably a good time to just paint the top and the sides. A little bit bluer on the sides than I want, and just got a little bit bluer in my horizon line. That's okay. We'll just call that a happy accident. And I'm just going to continue to wrap around the sides. All right, so I have my sky and I seem to be pretty okay with that. Maybe touch into a little bit of this lighter purple. Here's my palette, by the way. I guess I probably should have put that into the frame. But I kind of have a fluorescent purple here. I'm just going to add a little bit in the sky with streaks. Might add some clouds a little bit later. But just adding another dimension to the sky. I may actually even incorporate a little bit of pink. We'll see how it goes. Actually, you know what? I think pink would be kind of pretty up here. We'll go ahead and just streak in a little bit of pink. Okay, well, another happy accident. It's kind of pretty, I like that. All right, so we want to move down into the water. So I'm going to go back into my purple and add just a little bit more the horizon line. I'm going to streak in a little bit of white. And I'm going to start adding a little bit of white, a little bit of this yellow. Kind of get a bit of a purple sandy beach color. A little bit more white, a little bit more of this yellow, and maybe a little touch of that purple. So at this point we have full coverage of our canvas and we have the stage set, and I just want to go ahead and let it dry. So I'm just touching up a couple of little spots, but then we're going to let it dry. All right, so I've let it dry, and now I'm feeling like I want to wave right here in this area. It is still a little wet in some spots, but I'm okay with that. All right, so first things first, we want to kind of build up the shoreline. So I'm going to go into this purpley color. Just kind of add a couple little lines that are kind of creeping up on the shore. Maybe get a little bit of water in there so it's a softer line. And maybe I'll pick up a little bit of white. And then kind of just softening up the area. Okay, I want the wave to start to kind of build. I'm going to go back into this purple color and add a couple little areas that are darker, and I think I need a little bit more purple. All right, I'm going to add a little bit of blue and a little bit of purple and mix together kind of a purpley blue, but it's just a little bit darker and will stick a little bit more. And just kind of go over those darker areas. Just adding a little bit of a dark area back behind. Just incorporating a little bit more depth into the ocean. I'm going to go into a little bit of white and a little of that lighter purple color, and maybe a little dab of the darker purple. And I want my wave to kind of come out here. And that would be the shape of the wave. Want it to be just a little lighter on the inside of the wave. And build up with just a little bit more of that purple color. Also start to add the curvature. I'm going to add a little bit of pink into this wave. And a little bit more of that dark purple blue. Just kind of go back in and just hit some of those shadows. You want it to be pretty dark right here in the barrel of the wave. So I'm going to leave that there for now. I'm going to build up some clouds in the sky. I'm going to use this fluorescent purple and my finger. I'm just going to create some little clouds in the sky. Maybe add a little pink to this, give it a little bit of warmth. And maybe a little touch of white. All right, I think I want my heart-shaped moon to be right about here. So I'm going to add another little cloud like this on this side. Just kind of framing that moon where it's going to go. So I've got my clouds in the sky, and I'll let the water dry a little bit more. I want to create a heart for my moon, and I want to use a piece of chalk. We've got it right here. I'm just going to draw in a little heart. Just like that. All right, so I do want to fill this in, and I think I'll fill it in with a little bit of a smaller square brush. Just going to follow my outline. And I'm just going to quickly kind of fill it in. And because the background's purple, I'm just going to take my finger and I'm just going to kind of lift some of the paint off so that the purple shows up underneath it. Not everywhere, just in some spots. And I can actually tear off a little piece of paper towel and get off a little bit more in some sections. We're kind of just making a heart moon. So giving it the texture like a normal moon, but just in the shape of a heart. I'm going back in heavier with a little bit of the white in spots because I don't want it to be the same texture. And I'm going to go ahead and just go into a little bit of purple. And just add little darker spots. And since this is already kind of abstract, I mean, there are not heart-shaped moons, I'm going to add just a little bit of pink. Give it a little bit of oomph and fire and dimension, or you know what, maybe it's just planet far, far away. Love planet. I don't know, are purple beaches a thing? I think there actually are at least maybe one or two in the world, so that is kind of interesting. I'm just going to let that dry for a minute. I might add a little more to it, but I don't want to mush up the paint too much. I think I got a little too much pink on the side. All right, so back to the wave. I'm going to go back into the white, and I'm going to start to add that little curve in the wave that rolls in. And you can still see the sand, and it's a little bit clear. And then it kind of has some of these little crosses and curves and so I want to kind of build up my little wave. I'm just rinsing my brush and adding a little bit of water so I could soften up some of the white that I just laid down inside the wave. So it's just a little softer. And I can go back into a little bit of the purple, a little bit of the pink, and just add some more little layers, as well as going back into the darker purple, which I'm just adding a little bit more shadow to. going to go back into the blue and just add little streaks of blue in my water. Add another little wave rolling in. Try to make a shadow for the beach with a little bit of this purple and yellow. Just going underneath some of these little lines to create a shadow on the water's edge. Just add a little bit of shadow of the sand underneath. I'm going to go back into my moon and add a little bit more white in some spots. All right, well, I want a little bit of reflection on the water. I'm going to go back into the white. And I'm going to start to create a little bit of highlight in the middle of the water here. I'm going to build back up on some of the areas where it's just has that wave action. Just give it a little bit more of a solid white and maybe just stipple on a little bit more random bumps. All right, and we're gonna just let this dry. All right, so I let this dry a little bit, but before I did, I actually did end up adding more lines and forgot to film it. So you just want to streak in some more little white lines. All right, I'm gonna add a little bit of a lighter purple and try to soften up this little area right here. And maybe go back into some of the dark color. And just add a little bit more in the front of the wave. And maybe a little bit along this area. Okay. So I want to add some stars in the sky. And I think I'm going to try to water down a little bit of white for this, and I turned it upside down so that I just have the sky part. I don't have to reach over too much. I'm just going to take a little bit of water and a little bit of the white paint and mix it together so it is kind of watery. And yeah, I'm going to test it. I'm looking for dots. And that's what I've got. Really kind of trying to hug that top portion, but even add a little bit more. Okay, I got some a little bit too far away, so I'm just going to mush those into the sky as well as the water. And turn this back around. We can add a little bit sea foam. Just a little bit of sea foam. Maybe some backsplash. All right, I want to fix my water really quick because I don't really want all of those lines in there. So I'm just going to take a little bit of the purple paint and just sort of soften away and try to dissolve those little white dots. All right, I kind of lost my white line, but I wanted to build some more of that, or my white lines in the reflection, but I want to add a little bit more solid color for this. Anyway, you guys, if you like this video, please give it a like, please share, and if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe, and I'll keep putting these out. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.